talking about large language models. They have some challenges in their
Yeah.
implementation. They show a lot of promise, but one of the things you always have to ask yourself when you interact with any of those bodies of data is how do you know what you know? And so are you telling me, or am I understanding correctly, that the large language models are just that, but more because they're so easy to interact with because of the natural language front end
Well,
effectively?
they are very easy to interact with. Anyone that's used ChatGPT or some of the other LLMs out there know that they're rather magical in what they can do. Very low barrier to entry. You just go in, type in a prompt. But with these limitations out there that we just went through, there are some folks that are trying to look beyond that. Now, LLMs have got this redheaded cousin called knowledge graphs. Now, these are a little different animal out there. These are actual nodes and edges, if you're into graph theory, that connect facts and figures and relationships. Think about it as it's a whole bunch of nouns with a whole bunch of verbs that connect in between them. Hockey, sport, the connection, greatest. It's super easy to add nodes and edges into the graph. So real-time learning, not that big of a deal for a knowledge graph. Remember we said that was one of the limitations with an
Yeah.
LLM? Well, the net of this is knowledge graphs can put together some rather complex tasks like semantic searches or natural language processing, for where we give it some linguistic prompt, and it can actually start doing analysis on that, and we can manipulate that in a number of different ways. And as I mentioned earlier, new facts, they're integrated as they're encountered. So that's knowledge graphs, maybe not as popular as LLMs are right now. And knowledge graphs love living on an island by themselves. It's kind of difficult to get them to interoperate with other things except other knowledge graphs of their pedigree, let's say.
So Mark, but so the knowledge graphs, you described some real benefit from them, even though they've got some challenge like everything else. The enabling technology for that was a much larger memory space in a GPU so that we could do some of the operations in a GPU so that it was fast enough to not have to go out. The knowledge graphs, if I read you correctly, have less scale, but maybe more, what's the word? More acuity or,
Yeah,
you know,
agility. Yeah.
yeah, maybe they're easier to adapt. And so this seems to me like where we started, a wonderful combination. Are they able to be connected together? Can we start to achieve benefits from the merits of each approach?
Right now, the way they're operating together, I think years from now, we're going to say that, oh my gosh, how clunky this was. But right now, LLMs and knowledge graphs, they kind of live in their own domain and then independently, and then they exchange information back and forth, where the knowledge graph is providing that real-time learning that the LLMs can consult and that continuous fine-tuning. That's a feature LLMs don't have that they can get from it. And then the knowledge graphs can kind of gain some of that rich nuance. You know, if you've ever said, give me a non-compete clause for the state of Colorado into ChatGPT, and then you say, can you write that as a Shakespearean sonnet? That nuance is what's kind of missing in the knowledge graph. And so they're both independently kind of living in their own worlds and exchanging information. That's kind of where things are today.